Hello, loves. There's my cue. That's my song. It plays in my head every single dang time I get on here. What was I doing? What was I doing? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? We are in the moon energy. Full moon vibes. Full moon vibes. How's everybody handling that? I'm already in channel energy because I'm starting to get all wonky. Let's see here. I was trying to do something and now I can't remember what it was. I don't even know. It'll come back around, I guess. Right? Right. If you guys can start double tapping that screen, letting me know where you're watching from, it will help push it out to the FYP. We can get started a lot faster. I only have a little while to be on today, a couple hours max. I have a healing event I need to attend. I just finished with my sessions for the day. The rest of my week is pretty crazy, so I'm not thinking I'm going to be able to get on other than today, so we'll see. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind. Where y'all watching from? How y'all feeling in the full moon energy? You feeling it yet? They're actually calling this a mini eclipse. That's how potent this moon is. They're calling it a mini eclipse. Have y'all heard that? Oh, excuse me. If you guys can double tap that screen, let me know where you're watching from. Help me push this out. Wisconsin, I love Wisconsin, just not in the wintertime. Though, I mean, it was pretty this past winter, but Wisconsin, that place has such a good vibe. Thank you, Trish, for liking the live and for following. As soon as this gets pushed out and we get some more beautiful souls on, we'll get going. I think I'm feeling the moon energy. My mind is all over the place. Yeah. Just in general, in fact, I was just talking about this in a private mentorship call. You know, we are in between frequencies. We are, especially if you're on this live, if you're called to me, if you're drawn to me, then you're part of that collective. But we are shifting into a higher frequency on the planet. And in that transition, a good portion of us have been blown open. Our containers, our boundaries, the limits of who we believed we were have been cracked open, and we are being expanded so that we can live in that new frequency and sustain it. There's a difference between visiting a higher frequency in meditation and living in it on a constant basis, right? But because of that shift and because of so many of us being cracked open, of course the moons and the eclipses and the equinoxes and things like that amplify it. But what I've noticed through private mentor sessions, individual client sessions, people reaching out to me, is that more and more people are feeling overstimulated. They have anxiety, maybe for the first time in their life. Their mind is more obsessive than normal. It's like all of these things are happening. They're feeling more, sensitive. And so it's very common right now to feel this way. And I hate to say it, but I am. It's only going to get worse, or we're only going to be more blown open. And that's by design, right? We have to be expanded and be able to hold and sustain a higher frequency to live in the new frequencies and rebuild our new boundaries. And your boundaries are your belief systems, your ideologies, your standards, and those change as you let go of who you were in the old frequency and you move into the new one. Those have to change. They never stay the same. And so that means your filter changes, right? So we're all in that transitory space. I can tell you that something that I'm personally known for, right? Every single one of my courses talks about this. I talk about it in my books. It's something that I have preached and talked about for a very long time. Is boundaries is the foundation of everything we do. Energetic boundaries, not just physical boundaries of saying no, but energetic boundaries where you end and someone else begins. What's yours and what's someone else's, what's spirit and what's not. And managing your energy, being able to read and manage your own energy, which has a lot to do with nervous system regulation. And that's something that I had mastered, and now being put and moved into this new frequency the past 3-4 weeks, I have had moments of struggle with managing my energy and my nervous system. And it's because of how intense this new frequency is that we are in. It is so intense, and it's just busting us wide open, and we're having to learn how to manage to hold a higher frequency for a very long period of time, right? Because eventually we'll be consistently living in it. So a lot of people are struggling with this, and it's why I've had more and more people booking sessions and wanting to join mentorship and really wanting to learn how to, work with frequency and move within the frequency and sustain the frequency and all the things. So anyway, that kind of took me off on a tangent, but this moon is supposed to be pretty amplified energy. And so whatever it's bringing up, whatever it's doing, it's a gift, right? So the mind is an alarm system for something that's in the body. So if you have an obsessive mind or an overactive mind, What is the constant theme? What is it constantly telling you? And then you can turn to your body and say, where does this live in my body? Because that is what it's trying you to get to. It's trying to get you to feel something in your body. Yeah, the mind is always an alarm for what lives in your body. Always, always, always. I'm already hot. Every time I start channeling, I just get super hot. Super hot. Then I'll start sweating. Here it comes. Here it comes. And it's still 99 in Houston. Well, I'm northwest of Houston, but it's still 99 degrees today. That your person, like your partner, you mean? Hi Poonam, how are you? Sending you lots of love. No, we can't force people to open up. Can't force people to open up. We have to let people be where they are. To let people be what they are. I'm so glad to hear that you are good. Tippy Tap, I just saw her name. I just love saying Tippy Tap. Hello to you, beautiful soul. Yes, I haven't done my little announcement yet, but I'm about to. I was waiting for more people to get on. All right, so with that, that's my cue. For those of you who are new to me, I'm Johanna Burkhardt. I'm a multidimensional channel, teacher, healer. And my mission is to help you to be the change that you want to see so that you can create the reality that you are desiring. And we do that by aligning you to that frequency, the frequency in which that whole reality lives on, because all your desires are already manifested. Everything you want, the person you want, the things you want to feel. You would not have a calling to it. You would not be able to visualize it. You would not be able to feel it if it wasn't already reeled, if it wasn't already a reality. You just have to align to that frequency. So that's really what my specialty is really helping you to shift that frequency and align to and become the change that you want to see. And I do this through private mentorship, through single sessions, and I do have courses that are available as well. When I come on here, I do a little bit more of traditional intuitive read. So I connect to your energy field, your energy matrix, your spirit guides, your ancestors, your personal team, and you are allowed to donate and ask a question. So the donation amount range is up here. The link is in my bio for the tip jar. You can choose the method that you wish to pay. When you do donate, please let me know where you donated. I will need your first and last name. So if it doesn't show up on Venmo or Cash App as your first and last name, you will need to give me that in the comments. And then you can drop your question and we can see what else comes through. Because most of the time, what you want to know and what the guides want you to know are two different things. And so they are mini reads. So you do need to know that it's not going to be a long, huge message. But I'm going to give you everything that I have to give you, and when I feel we are complete, we will end. So that is what we are doing today. Let's see what time it is. I will be on until for around 2 hours or so. Yeah, a special bond. You probably have had multiple lives together. Okay. Let me see. Where did you pay? And for the regulars who are on here, you guys know I'm not doing mediumship. If mediumship shows up while I'm connecting to your team, I will bring it through. But I do not take donation based upon mediumship. It's just how I work. Okay, what's your question, my love? And also this week for TikTok customers only, all my digital courses are 50% off using the coupon code TikTok. So if you are wanting to learn spiritual development, like with the Energy Matrix course, which is Introduction to Mediumship, Channeling, channeling ray technology for healing, moving through your fears, learning how to be present, read, manage your own energy, all of those fun things, and a bunch of other different courses. If things like that call to you, you can access them this week only for 50% off using coupon code TikTok. It is only available to people who hear it on the live stream. I've been deep diving into my development. Hope you're well. I am well. I've missed you too. Okay, let me tap in and see what we got, my love. I'm going to clear some of your energy. For those of you who don't know, I'm a physical medium, so I will transmute on your behalf from time to time. So this is interesting. I'm getting a whole bunch of images, and I need to just say what the images are and see where we go with this. I also feel like there are changes in your ability to see happening, like your clairvoyance. I'm seeing a giant butterfly. I don't know why it's so big, but I literally see like the biggest butterfly I've ever seen in my third eye. But I also feel like I want to say a butterfly tattoo. So I don't know if you are planning on or have, or if someone in the family has gotten a butterfly tattoo. It would probably be in the remembrance, most likely of your mom, but it could be of someone else. But I feel like, I don't know if this is something you're thinking about doing or something's already done, but I am seeing a butterfly tattoo, but I'm just seeing this gigantic butterfly. But they're giving me the butterfly more as a symbol for you, because I feel like the foundation of everything beneath you is starting to open up and shift and will begin to change here very quickly. You are definitely, and we've talked about this several times, being called in another direction. You're being called to step into service of the healing world, right? Doing this type of work and personal development, going into that industry. So there is that. But I also feel this energy, there's a part of you that is really kind of not wanting to, or has some type of fear of moving forward, feeling maybe stuck or frozen. And so I do need to bring some awareness to that, because I don't know if you are aware of it or not, but I am feeling a little bit of that energy. And I just keep hearing you need to answer the call. You need to answer the call. Sober girl, I'll come back to that question in a second. You just saw a blue butterfly on Insta yesterday. Well, there's your synchronicity. It might be a symbol from your mom as well, but I don't know if anybody's, I keep seeing a butterfly tattoo. So I don't know if somebody's gotten a tattoo or thinking about getting a tattoo, but I keep seeing a butterfly tattoo. But I just see this big giant butterfly. But again, I do feel like it's transformation. And that transformation is you. But the tattoo, anytime I see a tattoo, that's always a symbol of for like a loved one, or a symbol of somebody who's put something on their body, right? It's you, it's them acknowledging the symbolism. But I just keep hearing you need to answer the call. So that means you're really being pushed to step into developing your healing gifts and your healing abilities. And this is only going to get stronger and louder. Now, I do need to say this, and it's not to scare you or fearmonger or anything like that. It's just fact. It's just reality. A lot of people think what's meant for you, you know, you can't miss it. You know, you won't miss what's meant for you. And that's just not correct. We are given an opportunity. We are given a certain amount of time, if you will. I mean, time's an illusion, right? But we're given this corridor, this period of energy as we're moving through the time-space continuum of when we can take that exit and exit into that opportunity. And if we miss it, and you can miss it, something else will come back around. It will just be different. It might be in the same kind of work or whatever, but everything else in between will have to change and reorient, right? You kind of have to start over again. And so I say this not just for you, Poonam, but for anybody who's listening. If you are called to step into service, if you feel like you're supposed to be doing something else, or you even know what you're supposed to be doing, but you're afraid of doing it, you can miss that opportunity. So I just keep hearing you have to answer the call. You need to answer the call. Is there someone in your family who's super agitated all of a sudden? Is there someone who is, Poonam, in your family who is super agitated? I keep hearing agitation. Like there's somebody who's agitated. Like it's more recent thing. Like maybe they're having a hard time with their emotions all of a sudden. I'm not sure what they're referring to. Your son maybe? Yeah, that feels aligned. Have you asked him about his dreams? Has he had night terrors, or is he having dreams? I feel like something is happening in his dream state. I feel like something's happening in his dream state. I also feel like he is also sensing energies, whether it be your mom or just your guides, because they are showing me you have your guides are very prominent around you now. I also am hearing Lakshmi, so I'm not sure if you are familiar with Lakshmi, but I feel like you have Lakshmi around you. But I feel like your son, other than the dream state, I feel like your son is starting to pick up on energies and is starting to sense them. He might even be able to see certain things, and it may be something that is he's misconstrued. The energy he's feeling is causing him to be agitated because he doesn't understand what he's sensing. Yes to, are you saying yes to, what are you saying yes to? Sorry, I often look off into the nowhere land when I'm channeling, so I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying yes to. Lakshmi, okay. Yeah, you definitely have Lakshmi around you. Which can create a lot of good luck, by the way. If you start to work with Lakshmi, there can be a lot of powerful shifts that, well, they're already happening, she's saying, but that will happen in your reality. Yes, goddess. Yes, goddess. Very much so. And the best way to do that is, this is a spiritual development tip that I give anybody who works with me. When you're working with a new, whether it's a new guide, a goddess, a deity, you know, a priestess, whoever's coming in to work with you, because when people like Lakshmi come in, they're coming in on a temporary basis. There's a reason why they're there to teach you something. They're helping you to align to a frequency. There's usually a transference of some type of knowledge or ability that comes through. And so that is why she's there to work with you, right? So what I always say is sit in meditation for at least 7 days straight and set the intention. I set the intention to connect to Lakshmi and only Lakshmi in order to be in tune and with her energy and connect with her. You could even ask for her to blend with your consciousness. And then in that time of meditation, you're only to observe. So you can say it's something like that. I don't have my actual script in front of me of what I give my students, but it is especially saying blending with my consciousness. So while you're doing that, you just want to observe. You want to observe what you see, sense, hear, feel, know, smell, taste. And after you've done connecting with her, you want to write it all down. And then after 7 days, you want to go back and see if you can find a common thread. If you can't, I say continue on and keep doing it. Because it might be something that's soft and subtle and you're seeking. Remember, you can't seek and receive at the same time. So you oftentimes have to just kind of observe and notice the soft, subtle things instead of seeking something that's big, loud, and clear. Because spirit is not always like that. They're generally very subtle, though you can have those more intense experiences. But Lakshmi can be felt very intensely. So I don't think that you would miss it. But I think that you could benefit a lot from having that experience. Help with abundance, yeah. It's more help with abundance, but she's saying through, she keeps saying threading, and I keep seeing these threads that she wants to and does. I think there's a lot of work being done on you in your sleep, but what she refers to it as threading you. So these are abundance cords or frequencies that are being weaved into and through your energetic matrix field. I had some burning smell for 30 seconds and it went away before I slept. I don't know what that was. Yeah, that's most likely her. I don't know if that's, you want to associate that with her, but it's probably the work, because she was telling me that they are working on you at night. But they're calling it, which I've never heard it called this way before. She's calling it threading, where they're threading and weaving abundance cords through you and into your field, which is really kind of cool. And you want to be able to learn how to work with that. So I would continue to work with her and connect with her. But you're definitely being asked to answer that call and to step into service. And you know what that service is. You and I have talked about it a million times. I feel like at this point, your best bet is to get out and start meeting people. So going to spiritual events, making the networks and connections, and the right person to help you is going to show up for you. And lead you on that next path. I keep hearing doctor. Is someone going to the doctor soon or needing to go to the doctors or something someone's got going on? What about the doctor? I feel like I got a combination of your mom here, and then of course I've got Lakshmi over here. She's pretty clear. I feel like somebody, I don't know if they're in your home or in your family. I feel like there's somebody that needs to go to the doctor. There's something going on that needs to be looked at and not ignored. I don't know if it's your husband or a family member, but I feel like there's someone in your family that they're making reference to. And the reason why I think it's your mom is because the communication is not super good. My sister is okay. But they just make me feel like this person isn't taking it seriously. Like they're not, I don't want to say it could be a fear, but it's like they're not wanting to maybe even find out what's going on with them. I think they have a little bit of fear or hypochondria that it could be something bigger than it is. She's grieving so bad. Yeah. Well, and that can cause a whole lot of health problems too. And there's nothing wrong with grieving. It's a matter of if she's allowing the energy through. Is she crying? Is she purging? But I keep feeling like there's more to it. Maybe even a hormonal imbalance. Like something's off. Something's off. That's very clear. Something's off. So maybe you would suggest to your sister to maybe just go get a blood panel done, maybe to get her hormones checked or thyroid checked, just to see, you know, her deficiencies, to see if she's off somewhere, you know, her vitamin D, you know, the things that are really responsible for the mental health issues. The hormone, like, you know, hormone imbalances, there's something off. And stress can do that. And she was highly stressed for some time. So being in an elevated state when a parent is going through something can often throw off your hormonal balance. But that's coming in. So you might want to pass that along. Poonam, there's also a Andromedan connection coming in for you. Andromedans and the Andromedan energy mirrors a lot of the Hindu beliefs. And for whatever reason, I needed to let you know that. I don't know if you practice Hinduism or if you've been called to it. But there's a lot of similarities between what the Andromedans, how the Andromedans work, which is a galactic race, and the Hindu religion, if you will, Hindu beliefs. But they're bringing that in because that has something to do with, because it's interesting. They make me feel like, yes, you're going to take the shamanic path, but you're going to do it differently. And I feel like you're going to be mixing in these energies from Hinduism, from Lakshmi, and I feel like there's two other prominent temporary guides that are going to come in at different times. Now this is an overtime development, okay? So just put this in your back pocket. There's two other guides that are going to come in, and they are going to also contribute, and you're going to take a blend of this information and kind of create your own healing method or modality or whatever it is, right? So there's a structure, a shamanic structure to it, which is why I feel like you're super called, being called to that. But you're going to be mixing in these beliefs and practices and techniques that are going to be given to you through working with these guides. You know Hinduism, but you're not like practicing. Okay. So just keep that in the back of your mind, the back of your pocket, because these things are going to show up, right? So obviously I didn't even know that you were already noticing Lakshmi. So Lakshmi's here. You need to start working with her, connecting with her, downloading the information, the gifts and abilities, things like that. And that's going to be there, right? And then these next guides will start to show up one at a time. And you'll literally feel a shift, and you'll know there's a different guide here. There's a different deity here. There's another race here. And it might take you a minute to figure out who it is, or you might just have an instant knowing of who it is. And then you'll want to repeat that same practice that I told you to do with Lakshmi. And these things you'll start putting them all together, and you'll start practicing and playing with creating your own methodology. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Honestly, I feel like all religions are saying the same thing a different way, and all just come with a different set of rules. And I just don't comply with the rules, right? I don't believe God has rules, but they all have their own unique expression and lens of perception, and that's going to apply. Different people are going to align with or resonate with different perceptions. So there's always a divine purpose for it. But that's what we have for you, my love. So I hope that helps you kind of get kickstart. I'm interested to see how the butterfly shows up for you. But don't forget to talk to your sister. That's important. And talk to your son. You know, try to find ways to ask him, you know, if he's overstimulated or if he's sensing things or what's being agitated with. And it's hard with kids, but you got to figure out a way to communicate with him in a way that won't scare him. Oh, you're very, very welcome. Always love connecting to your energy. And just a reminder, I already know you know this, but your mom is happy, healthy, well, watching everything you guys do like a hawk. Very much around. Very much around. And she'll get stronger. She's learning how to communicate again. I feel like she's a little impatient with that, but she'll get better. It does take some time, as in our perception of time, for them to figure that out. Hi, Daisy. Welcome. I know you do. She misses you too in the physical form, but she's with you. She's with you. She's with you. She is saying right before I let you go, she brings in a scent. So I don't know if you smell her or smell something that reminds you of her, but she just brought that in before I let her go. There's some type of scent. So pay attention to when you feel like you smell something that reminds you of her. That's her. Okay. And have fun working with Lakshmi. That's always fun. You have her perfume. Okay. Yay. Okay, I'm going to scroll back to this other person real quick that asked a question. I've been called and I don't want to. Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard anybody say they didn't want to. But sometimes Spirit will, if other people are on here, we call it piggybacking. And whether it's guides or mediumship, someone's loved ones, you'll see this across the board. If there's multiple people that will benefit from the same message, they will make sure that's the message that gets out. So they call that piggybacking. So they asked us, that's why I burp and purge all the time. No, so you don't have to be a physical medium to be a transmuter. I happen to be a physical medium and I transmute. All physical mediums are transmuters, but not all transmuters are physical mediums. So I hope that answers that question. But if you are somebody, I did a whole podcast on how to know if you're a physical medium, so you can check that out in season 1 of The Cosmic Blonde. It's linked in my profile. But if you're a transmuter, you'll know, because if you get around certain people, you will belch, you will cough, you will yawn, and a lot. Yawns are usually activations. Coughing, belching are you clearing the energy. You could get on land, which can activate it. You can be around certain people. You get around certain people, maybe that person has a lot of gas, for example, then all of a sudden you have a bunch of gas, right? So there's different things where you're pulling it in and taking it for them. And that's why I always say energetic boundaries are imperative if you are a highly sensitive person. If you're highly empathic, most people are empaths. So if you're highly empathic, if you are on this journey of awakening, right, you're very open, you have to learn energetic boundaries. Then you can know if this is mine or somebody else's, so that you don't carry it forward. Several very high profile mediums have talked about this, including Tyler Henry, that, you know, when you connect to somebody and you take on their energy, it can make you sick. So you have to learn what's yours and what's not and how to clear it. Like, that's why I always tell people, before you go become a medium or a reader or a healer, you make sure you know where you end and someone else begins. You make sure you know how to read and manage your energy, because that is going to be an imperative thing. Will you have it mastered by the time you start doing it? Absolutely not. But you will know enough to begin to practice, and that's what gets you to mastery, is a lifelong practice. Yeah, you got to learn those things. And again, if you're wanting to learn, Energy Matrix is a really good place to start. Energy Matrix, Unity has some good stuff in it too. And again, code TikTok is the coupon code. This week only 50% off those courses. I do ask, if you buy one of my courses, you join my Facebook group, you will need to communicate with me to ask questions or to submit homework, especially if you're doing Energy Matrix, because there's practices in there. So just know that if you do decide that you want to get a course to get some assistance, then to join the Facebook group, or you can book sessions or mentorship or find someone who you resonate with. It doesn't have to be me. That's been happening to me a lot lately. What part? Getting sick? Tippy tap? I've been helping the kids in the neighborhood. They are neglected. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's a really good point. Especially when you're working with children, you tend to not have any boundaries at all. When I moved to Texas, I moved in with my brother from another mother. He has fraternal twins. And I figured out very quickly that I had zero boundaries with them. So every time they got sick, I got sick. And I was transmuting for them, on top of the fact that I have allergies and I'm allergic to my neighborhood. And so I had to start utilizing boundaries. But with children, it's hard because we don't feel like we need to have any boundaries because they're so innocent. But we forget that children up into a certain ages are walking sponges. They are transmuters for their parents, because up into the age of 7, they don't have any kind of auric field. They are under the guidance of their parents' auric field. And then even up until the age of 21, their lower 3 chakra, their full chakra system is still being developed until the age of 21. So they're still always at some level of age going to be encompassed in their parents' aura. So their healing issues, their trauma, their anger issues, whatever, all their BS, it gets passed. That's how epigenetics works, right? It gets ethereally passed down, just through energetic transference of them living with them and being in their energy all the time. And so it's important to remember that when you're working with children, that you still need boundaries. The code is good too. That's a good question. Let me look. I forgot. I don't remember what day I put it to, so let me look real fast. Why is it doing this? Coupon. The 18th, which is three days from now. What day is that? We're not even on the right month here. Friday at midnight. Burping and yawning when around other people and doing readings. So when you have to start working with your auric field, and you have to really be conscious about connecting and disconnecting. You got to be conscious about clearing your field. It's never about energy protection. I do not believe in that. I am you, you are me. You're never going to attract anything that isn't a resonant match for you. So there's nothing you're just protecting yourself from yourself. So that's one thing to pay attention to. But 2 is just to recognize, oh, this is someone else's, right? So again, this comes down to energy management and the practices that you have to develop. Oh, thank you, Daisy. My daughter, 16, has high anxiety lately. We have spent a lot of time together and I keep getting it. Yep. So when you're, Bonnie, when you're around her and you feel her anxiety, you start to feel anxious, a simple technique you can do is just say, is this mine or someone else's? And you're automatically going to get a knowing, hearing it, feeling it. You're going to get some type of immediate response that it's your daughter's. And then you just take a deep breath and you go, okay, this is what my daughter's feeling. She's feeling an abundance of energy. And then you can just recognize, by saying that, you're telling your body, this isn't mine. the guides are very clear on anxiety is an abundance of energy that we are taking personally. So whenever there's an energy field and we take something personally, like something's wrong with us or something's happening to us or we're getting attacked, it turns all of the energy and it points it at us and it amplifies it, and which can push somebody into a panic attack. And so when you start to feel anxious, it's really important to say to yourself or out loud, there's an abundance of energy here, and take some deep breaths and start to do things to help you manage that energy, because your body's immediately going to want to get rid of it and resist it, and that will only make it stronger. So your very first step is always to accept what is and then begin to work with it. It isn't about protecting yourself. It's just about recognizing that it's not you. I have 4 kids. I'm always sick. Well, yeah, I mean, and it's hard when you're a parent. You know, it's hard when you're a parent because you're so open to your children. You're so open to your children. I don't have my documents from the energy matrix to give you specific techniques, but so like, for example, when I go into a session, like today's session, I connect to, so this is how I work, for me personally. Before I go into a session, I connect to their energy matrix before I even get on the call. I connect to them. You gotta remember, I am a physical medium, so I'm gonna do things a little bit differently, but I connect to them, I connect to their energy matrix. I'm gonna feel what's happening, and that's going to those feelings and the images and whatever I hear, all that information from my clairs that I get, those are all symbols. And those symbols mean something to me because I've built a dictionary over time. So especially when you're beginning, you're still building your dictionary. So you just want to write down what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're sensing, and you'll start to build your dictionary over time. But that gives me information other than the channeled messages that will come through. And usually before they even get on the call, I'm already clearing for them. So I'll usually clear any blocks or loose energy that's right at the surface that they've already broken loose. They just maybe aren't aware of it and haven't chosen to clear it. And I will clear that for them before they get on the call. Then we'll work through our call. And when I get off, I have a disconnect practice of how I disconnect from them. And then I just see beautiful light flushing through me, and I send them love. And that completely disconnects me from their field. And then I'm not going to do that anymore. Now, here's the difference. When I'm doing private mentorship, I'm connected to that student for 6 months. That's why I always say there's a reason why private mentorship costs $3,300. One, you have me in your back pocket, right? So you can talk to me anytime you need, except for on Sundays. You can get on the phone with me in between calls if you need to. You know, you have all these resources, but I'm connected to you energetically because I need to constantly be able to be in contact with your guides. I need to constantly be in contact with you. And so if something's off in your field or something's going on with you, I feel it in me and I immediately get annoying. But I've worked a lot of time to be able to discern, I'm feeling this, and then I automatically see that person's face, or I have a knowing that it's them. And then it leaves me because I have built this practice inside of me. Once you do something enough times, you don't even need to say it anymore. Like once you do a ritual enough times, you don't have to sit there and really do it. It's just an automatic thing. It just automatically happens. You're training your guides on how to work with you. You're training your body on how to work with energy. So with repetition, you just build this automatic thing where it becomes an automatic pilot system. Hi, Lindsay. Welcome in. And since you're new, Tippy Tap, you're still working, you're going to develop your practices and your techniques, and it will become an automatic thing too. Just work on your spiritual hygiene, work on your connection disconnection practices, and who you're, what you're feeling from who. And just as long as you can be aware of it, it's the unconsciousness that you have to worry about. So when you leave the house and you go out and about, you should not be clearing for other people. You should not be doing those types of things. And if you are, then that's when you have to start, you know, working with your practices to call your auric field in, you know, not be on duty, essentially, you know, learn to turn yourself off, that type of thing. It's not dimming your light, it's just you're turning down your frequency a bit. You're saying, I'm not. And then in the very beginning, when I first started, I literally saw a close sign and I would be like, closed. And now that didn't mean I didn't feel them. Didn't mean I didn't feel the guides. It didn't mean I did not feel the loved ones. I still did. I just was not receptive to them. I would not take messages from them. I would not communicate on their behalf. But there are some people who believe that they're supposed to be on duty all the time, you know, that they're supposed to be on all the time. But you are meant to have a human experience too. And you can't have a human experience if you don't allow yourself to be human. Beginners in spiritual development, Bonnie, is that what you mean? Like, this is me when I'm on and I'm channeling and I'm working with clients. But when I'm out playing with my friends, I don't channel for them. Will I hear my guides and get information? Absolutely. I'm never turned off from my guides. I'm never turned off from my own team and to channel guidance from source, God, whatever you want to call it. But I'm me, you know, I'm a human. Okay, that would be the Energy Matrix. So the Energy Matrix was a very special program that was designed and very intentionally. It was originally a 9-month program that was run live. Now it's kind of DIY, but you get support through the Facebook group and you can reach out to me through that. But there's 3 phases. The first phase is how to learn how to manage and read and discern your own energy field. Again, that is the foundation of everything. That teaches you the tips and tricks so that when you do go out and when you are having issues and you are getting sick and you are this or that, it helps you to learn how to deal with that. Phase 2 is about really clearing the blocks, clearing the heavy trauma, clearing the fears. There's deep healing work that we do. There's a different take on the purification process, which is my modality. There's really, like, it's super intense clearing of fears. Because again, when you start to open yourself up to spirit, you have a lens of perception. We're all channeling the same source, but it's coming into and through a filtration system or a lens, which is made up of your beliefs, your fears, your trauma. So we want to cleanse that as much as possible so that you are seeing through the clearest possible lens, right? If you've ever heard someone say, I'm a clear channel, that means they're saying they've done the work to clear their lens and they can separate their ego and their inner children and their trauma from being a direct, clear channel for source. It is possible, right? And like, I channel things sometimes that are in conflict with my own personal beliefs, but because I've done the work, I'm able to still channel it. And I just have an awareness and an observation of, I'm not really in alignment with that belief just yet, but it always opens my mind and I end up shifting and getting closer in alignment to that. But I'm able to bring through information that is aside from my own issues. So we go through and we do a deep clearing. And then the third phase, I introduce you to learning how to channel frequency, which everybody should learn how to do for your own personal use, right? Really working with your frequency, using it for healing of yourself, maybe even your children, people that your clients eventually, how to read and tap into the Akashic records, and then different types of mediumship, because there is no one type of mediumship. Everybody uses their mediumship gift differently. So I introduce you to several different techniques and kind of open that door for you to start practicing. And so all of that is, I mean, it is a gigantic course. And so that is called the Energy Matrix, and that's how it's laid out. And again, you know, you can do it on your own. You can work with me in mentorship and get that as a bonus and work with it on the side while we work together. Or you can just purchase it and join the Facebook group and show up and say, hey, this is where I am. This is my question, or this is my progress. Ask for assistance, whatever you need. But know that if you do purchase any of the courses, please join the Facebook group so that if you do need something, I can support you. I never want you to feel like you're alone. It is hot in here. When I first started channeling, I was channeling, I'm a little bit different than a lot of people, and I always thought something was wrong with me for this, but now I just, I realize we're all different. Normal, I say normal people, but majority of people, when they start opening up, they start connecting with loved ones first, right? They start with mediumship. I didn't. I started channeling galactic councils and like Master Metatron and deities and ascended masters. Like those were the beings that came to me first. And when I started channeling them, it was so high frequency, I would literally pour sweat. And it wasn't until about 6 months ago, I was watching Tyler Henry. I somehow got on this kick of watching mediums on TV. And I was watching Tyler Henry, and he was just profusely sweating. And I was like, oh, I'm not the only one. Now I'll get hot, and sometimes I'll get a little sticky, but I don't sweat like that anymore. But it's part of when you start bringing in high frequencies or working with frequencies that are way higher than your frequency, then your body it literally pushes on everything. And so you just start pouring out toxins, you start pouring, like it just comes out of you. It's a wild experience. But I also think Tyler Henry is a physical medium. I don't know if he recognizes it or not. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him to know what he calls himself, but I do know that is another trait of physical mediumship. Because they live in different dimensions. So every dimension is like, think of a building, right? We'll say a building has 12 floors. We'll just stick to 12. If you went up the elevator and got off on a floor, that's a dimension, right? That floor is a dimension. That dimension has its own frequency. That frequency has its own gifts and abilities or things that it holds in that plane of existence. And so it doesn't make them higher or lower in the fact of hierarchy. It doesn't make them better or less than. It just means that that's the dimension that they live in and the frequency that dimension carries. Does that make sense? Each dimension is different in energy. Some are masculine, some are feminine. Some are more focused in sound. Some are more focused in different things. So I have it, I channeled it. I wonder if I have it still. Let me look. It would be in this book. I used to have these huge downloads that would come in. And they literally were like, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see, but it would just be these big old random things. And I would just sit and channel for hours, all this stuff. Yeah, see, like, here's some of it. I'm not going to go into all of it, but, like, I even went into, like, this is a whole rabbit hole, this channel. There's microcosms and macrocosms of each dimension and how it plays out on the earth plane. Like, the third dimension holds a lot of the energy of greed, monopoly, ownership, slavery, dictatorship, wars, corruption, but it also has compassion, competition, the fourth dimension, and each dimension gives birth to another dimension. So the fourth dimension is disclosure, discovery, race wars, conspiracy, outerly world, discoveries. This is they call the fourth dimension the wounded feminine dimension, or what I call the wounded healer. It's the ability to manipulate energy and learn how to manipulate energy. Now, some people use the energy manipulation for control and dictatorship and monopoly of the third world, right? Of the third dimensional world. And some use manipulation. We're all here to learn to manipulate energy, so don't misunderstand. It's not a bad thing, but you're learning how to manipulate energy to create with it, because energy is just energy. And when you hold a vision or a vision, right? Imagination is the key to everything. When you hold a vision of what you want something to look at, that creates these energy molecules, if you will, that vibrate so intently from constant vision that it then becomes form. That's energy manipulation. So we are supposed to learn how to manipulate energy. And so each dimension has so many different characteristics. This is like a huge rabbit. I need to clean this up and put it in a document. I can't even read some of my own writing. So crazy. I thought I had gone through and cleaned this up. Is this it? No. Anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, but there's definitely a micro and macrocosm of everything. Heaven is not a place. Heaven is a state of being. Heaven is a state of being. So there is no heaven or hell. That is a misconception. That is a religious creation. All dimensions live right here in the now. Every dimension is right here in front of me. You're seeing every dimension right now. So think of it as a radio station. Think about the old analog dials, right? If you turn the radio to a specific frequency, let's say 93.7, and that comes in clear, you're going to get a specific station. It doesn't mean all the other stations don't exist at the same time. They do. It's just that you're not tuned into it. So then you go to turn the dial and you get that static, right? That's you between frequencies. And then you land on 95.2 and it comes in clear. That's the next clear frequency. All the other frequencies are still there. Heaven is everything, heaven is a state of being. It is not a destination. So your loved ones, when they exit their body, we don't die. When we exit the body, you're just continuing on into the ethereal planes, and what dimension you enter is up to you and your soul's path. You never stop evolving. You will continue to evolve, and you've already made a decision and choice before you even came here as to what will happen to you when you exit your body, as in where you go, what you do, how you want to proceed. But heaven isn't up there, hell's not down there. They're just states of being. Hey, Justin. It's just states of being. So when people say fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, that's a frequency that can be embodied. Now, I will tell you, after the seventh dimension, you don't hold form anymore. So anything sixth dimension and below can hold form. After the fifth dimension, that form is malleable, so it's like shape-shifting type energy where things can change form. But after the seventh dimension, you don't hold form, so you're considered a light being, right? So this is like a huge rabbit hole. I could talk on this stuff for hours, but they're all right here. Just like there's no time isn't real, right? There's no past, there's no future. There's no past lives, there's no future lives. Everything is a timeline or reality that's existing all at the same time. Time is a human construct. We created it. And it was meant to help us because we're having a very dualistic physical experience. So time is something that helps us to navigate that. So it is important, but in the big scheme of things, it's not real. It's just a human creation. And that's why, like, a lot of what I do, it makes it so easy to do, because we're multidimensional. And so once you understand that, and you understand that whatever life you desire to have, so if you want the house, the spouse, the wealth, the health, whatever the hell it is, and you can see it and you can feel it, it already exists. Like that radio station analogy, all you have to do is learn how to align to that frequency of where that life is, right? And this is a lot of the work that I do. So you learn to align and sustain that frequency inside of you. Because we can't have temporary manifestations. We can temporarily reach a frequency, call in a little blurb of money or a temporary relationship or a little bit of success, and then we lose it all. And we're like, oh, why can't I hold on to this? Because you haven't embodied that frequency. You haven't been able to sustain it. You have to become that frequency. And once you do that, then you're cake. Then everything is solid. Jumping timelines or dimensions is because it's just a terminology expression. So like in my recalibration experience, we can call that quantum jumping or timeline jumping, but you're never really jumping, right? That's just a terminology. What you're doing is continuously on a repetitive wheel, connecting to, aligning to that frequency that has that reality. And when you do that enough times, when you do anything repetitively, what are you doing? You're attuning your body to that frequency, which then attunes you to those beliefs and that lens of perception. And believing is seeing. So you have to do it repetitively. So when I did my recalibration experience program, which I most likely will run again, but I haven't set a date to run it again. But anyway, it's 40 days, at least 40 days. I recommend people do it longer than that, but it's 40 days. Now I did mine. Mine was more of a hard reset, where the recalibration experience is a soft reset. I did mine for 40 days. That was the middle of January to the middle of February. I manifested or aligned to and saw everything come to fruition, because that's really what's happening. Everything that I had desired for the whole entire year before June, everything. The clients, the amount of money I wanted to make, the body that I wanted, ending my nomad journey and becoming stable and rooted in one place again. Everything that I had wanted, it just, the opportunities and the synchronicities just aligned and everything fell into place. And it was because I spent all of that time embodying those frequencies, and then it changed my belief systems. It changed the way that I see. It changed the way that I operated on a daily basis. We call this acting as if. You start to become that in which you seek. This is the process. This is true manifestation. The whole law of attraction, just sit and say it all day long, that shit does not work. That is a third dimensional construct of the law of attraction. You have to understand the higher frequencies of these laws. Law of assumption, law of vibration, they all work coherently, but it has to be consistent. So when somebody says that you're jumping timelines or dimensions, it's just an expression. What you want is on a different frequency, which could be in a different dimension, right? So you need to consistently connect to that and be able to align to it to see it come into fruition in this now time and space. But we have a lot of expressions that mean the same thing. Astral traveling, astral projection. It's all the same shit. It's all the same thing. You're not really projecting yourself. You're not really traveling anywhere. You just have this ability to look at the timelines, to look at different locations, remote viewing. All of these things are very similar. They're just different terminologies to do the same thing. Yeah. And it is. That's why I say, like, a lot of times people overcome metaphysical terms, quantum physics, quantum mechanics. They can be very complicated and can be hard for the mind to understand. So we have to simplify it. But people like to use those big words. And I will use those words. I will use those hashtags because people look for them. But it's just another way of saying it. That's all. Good questions though today, guys. If you do donate for a reading, please let me know so that I'm not sitting here blabbing when I could be prioritizing you. I just want to let you know that. I also, check this out. I don't have a way of sharing this kind of stuff on TikTok. At least I just don't know how or haven't figured it out. But I channeled a activation. I posted it on my Facebook, and if you're on my email list, you already got the notification. But it's activating your divine spark. This divine spark connects to your God particle. And so this is a 22-minute activation. You can listen to it multiple times if you like, but you don't have to listen to it more than once. But it's very, very potent, very, very powerful, really turning on that, like reconnecting you to that truth, realigning you to your truth, to why you came here. But the other thing that I noticed when I was channeling it that really stuck out to me was this energy of living in a perpetual surrendered state. So what does that mean? That means that this is you learning to go with the flow instead of controlling, and just allowing for those opportunities to show up, for the, and for you to follow those opportunities, follow those doors, and to not try to control or seek, and just to allow things to be what they are and make the best of it, right? The inspired action, all of these things. And there was a ton of transmutation that took place. So I wrote powerful activation of your divine spark that connects you to your God particle and the remembrance of who you are, your truth, and aligning you to your soul's path with ease and grace, all while transmuting density and allowing surrender to be your natural state of being. It is located in the meditation shop. So if you are on the links in my bio, you'll want to click on meditation shop and you'll see it. It says activating your divine spark. But I wanted to let you guys know because I haven't, this is the last 2 years, I have not channeled a lot of activations or meditations even. And so when this came through very potently, and so people always get excited when I do them. So I just want to let people know. Love is an open door. Yes. Yes and no. So shamanism is a modality in itself. I can actually be classified as a shaman. I had my shamanic rights invoked. I come from a lineage of shamans, but at the end of the day, what is a shaman? A shaman is a medium between two worlds. They help you walk from the shadow world into the light and the merging of the two, right? They help you face your darkness, your demons, which are all parts of you, right? It's all repressed trauma is all it is. And they do it through more of an indigenous practice. So, and then there's more modern day shamanism as well. So anything can be a term. At the end of the day, a channel, a medium, a shaman, they're all a bridge between two worlds, but they're all doing it a little bit differently. So when you work with a shaman, you are going to be using more ancient indigenous techniques oftentimes and practices. You'll probably be working with more elders. I know when I was doing my shamanism, I was definitely working with a lot of the elders, with a lot of ancestors and a lot of indigenous energy. And it was a beautiful time in my life. And while I still hold on to some of those practices, I have really more focused on just being an open channel and allowing who and whatever needs to come through for my client at whatever time, right? I kind of shied away from only doing one thing or being niched down in any kind of way. But at the end of the day, every single one of us that has any type of label, we're all just a bridge between worlds. That's it. It is an audio file and you do download it, so you keep it forever. You're very welcome. Even people who say, this is another one, I read the Akashic Records. Yeah, well, so do I. I just don't call it an Akashic Records reading. When I connect to a client, and if you've ever done any of my meditations, a lot of my meditations will talk about doors. You walk into a temple with doors. That's your Akashic Hall. Your Akashic Hall lives within your matrix field. We have Earth records. We have galactic records, which are all the records of everything. There's many different realms that hold different records. Your personal Akashic record is held in your field. So anytime I'm tapping in to read your energy field, and I'm tapping into your records. And a lot of times when I do meditations, the guides will, especially you'll hear Master Thoth. He is the Akashic Records keeper. Like, he is the keeper of the records. Now you may have someone else that connects to Master Thoth, right? A lot of people think, oh, I don't connect through Master Thoth. Well, Master Thoth is there whether you recognize him or not. He is the keeper of the records. So if you ever hear one of my meditations, there's a whole bunch on YouTube, by the way, for free if you're new to me, and you hear the door, you hear me talk about a temple, and then you're looking at a hall of doors, that is your Akashic record that you're in. So I connect into your field. I'm connecting into your records. I'm seeing every timeline, all the potentials, whether that would be considered past or future. So am I also a past life reader? Yes, but do I niche myself down as that? No. If a past life comes up, it's because there's something in this now moment that is happening that is similar to an experience that you've already, or it's happening at the same time somewhere else that we can learn from, or vice versa. So this is how they show it. For those of you who are in the recalibration experience, you'll recognize this. I don't know why I ever put this away. I should just leave it out. Oh, look, I'm going to jump right to it. So this is what it looks like. This is the spiral, right? The spiral that we all evolve through, time-space continuum. Let's just say this is our oversoul. These are all different parallel realities, timelines, past life, future lives, and we're just moving through this continuum, and we're moving through the time-space continuum. So you're going to come up against spots where deja vu, you've experienced something, you've already been here, you've already done this. It's a remembrance. You might come up against a fear. Well, you might be hitting a past life or another lifetime where that fear is very prevalent in your field. But all of these are working to heal very similar things, or to learn very similar things. You're just doing it in infinite ways. So again, none of these are past, but if we're trying to heal something, or something's coming up and they bring up a past life, it's because it's going to give you information that's going to help you in the now moment. That's all it's used for. But again, this is why I say you never need to niche. And there's just a whole bunch of terminologies. Could someone, that's what they do, they just connect to the Akashic Records and that's what they feel comfortable calling it? Yeah, if that's what makes you feel comfortable and that's what you feel like you're doing, I mean, no judgment here. But I don't need to list on my website I do all of those things, because I'm just a channel. I can see, my gift is omniscience. I can see all time space realities at one time, and that makes me my gift pretty cool, because I don't have to label it all of these things. I can just allow and see what needs to come through for the client. Yeah, it's cool when people ask this kind of stuff. Oh, I don't do everything, but there's a lot of things that I can do, but sometimes I don't even know that I know how to do it until I connect to somebody and it comes up, and then it's there, right? So again, in one session, there could be a past life that comes up. There could be mediumship that comes through. It could be none of that, and we're just working with parts. We're working with inner children, and we're working with ego personalities. We could be working in, looking at other timelines and potentials. So some sessions are really cool. Some sessions have nothing showing up. Sometimes I have new galactic races that show up for people. Every single session is different, and that's why I call them quantum soul sessions. Quantum means all-inclusive. It means everything is possible. And so I don't try to limit myself, but I also I know I don't know everything, but I'm open to everything. I'm open to what needs to come through for my client. Is there something you can't do or wish you could? That's it. I've never had anybody ask me that. Well, once I wish I was invisible. That would be cool. Or time travel, like with my physical body, that would be cool. Let me think. I did wish I knew more about numerology. I know a little bit, but I do have a fascination with numbers because I see synchronistic numbers all day long on a continuous basis. And so I do have a little bit of a fascination with that. And I don't know. I haven't really come up with anything else. Can I do that ready? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I mean, anybody can do, private reading. I mean, you can do a private reading if you want. It's not really a reading, it's a session. So when you come to a session, you kind of need to have an idea of what you're coming for. Like, what is it that you're wanting to know? Can we sit and just talk with the guides? Yeah, but we're not going to talk for an hour with the guides. We're not going to just be going, that's a reading. These are meant to really help you to evolve and ascend. Two different things. Evolving is something we always continuously do, whether or not we have a body. Ascension is physical. The soul is not ascending. The physical body is what's ascending. It's moving from a carbon state to a crystalline state. The more crystalline your body becomes, the higher frequency it can hold. Oh, thanks, Tippy Tap. What's 411? Oh, 411, 111. Look at, I'm not even paying attention. I'm getting synchronicity on here. Hi, Corey. Thanks for sharing. But yeah, if you've never had a quantum soul session with me, there is a first-time client rate. So a lot of times the first sessions, this is what people want. They want to know what their life's purpose is and what their life's mission is. Your purpose is what you're here to learn. Your mission is what you're here to do if you so choose. So that's usually, every time I get a new person, that's usually what they're most wanting to look at. That's usually what the guides are wanting to bring through. If they don't, most of the time, if you're first time session, you probably are very new. And occasionally you get someone who already knows their mission work, but that's usually what the first sessions are about. And sometimes, whatever guides are wanting to work with them will show up. They're all different, but that seems to be a common theme. Speaking of crystalline, weird thing recently, I got a message from a crystal my niece owns. Yep, you can do that too. No, so you guys want to know how crystals are formed? We'll use a piece of crystal cola. So you ever hear people say like they should stop mining crystals because we're going to run out or something? This for the earth. We will never run out of crystals. And here's why. The earth is constantly going through an expansion and a contraction. Just think about how they love to use the iPhone analogy or phone analogy. If your phone's getting an update, but you're holding on to too many pictures, too many emails, too many videos, too many apps, your phone can't update. You can't receive the newest information, right? So you have to clear some of that out. Well, how does the earth do that? Right? Because the earth needs to retain all of that information for the earth's library. So it can't really just delete it. So the earth does it different, where we kind of clear and delete things out. I feel like that shit never really gets deleted, by the way, but that's another story. So what happens is the earth goes through these expansions and contractions. So as information, everything that we do is recorded in the earth's records. Of course, in our own personal records as well, but in our earth records. I'm going to go off on a couple of tangents here. Let me give you an example. This is the funniest example the guides have ever given me. But let's say that there's two worlds, right? There's two different races. One gets pissed off at the other one and blows up their world. They're going to tap into the Earth's records and go, how did Johanna and her neighbor George handle their property line dispute? Because we need to see how they handle that so that we can figure out how to make peace with you blowing my world up. I know that sounds really odd, but that's exactly what they do. To think that there isn't things going on like this in other realities is just asinine. But they come into Earth's records because our shit is considered so simplified, right? And so they're looking for that simplification. So they're learning from us just as much as we learn from them or from channeling. So anyway, so everything that happens is recorded. So the Earth expands. Okay, now it's maxed out. It goes through a quick like this, and a crystal is formed, and it's left into the Earth. Now somebody picks up this crystal, right? Let's say someone digs it up, and they sit with it. Okay, they sit with it. Especially if you dig it up, especially, there's mines all over the place. If you dig it up and you sit with a crystal freshly dug up, and you just tune into the crystal and ask to receive from the crystal, there's so much information that is going to be off the wall shit that you're going to get out of that crystal. Now you can also program your crystals to hold information for you. Here's another little fun fact. If your crystal randomly breaks, especially with your bracelets or your rings, right? This is all holding information. When it can't hold anymore and you haven't been clearing it with sage or in the moonlight or by washing it, and even then it can get maxed out, it will break. The crystal will break. I have this pendulum. I kept it. See, the tip broke. Now it's out of service. Right? I use pendulums to move energy. Other than yes and no, I use them to move energy. But it broke. So it was done. It was capped out. So if you have a crystal and it suddenly breaks, that crystal, I always say they're out of commission. You know, that thing, it was done. But that's how crystals are formed. So we will constantly and forever be in constant production of crystals because that information has to be crystallized into something. So we think about information as far as us. When babies are, the baby's structure, right? Not the baby itself, that's a soul. But when the body of a baby is being formed in the mother's womb, the very first thing that forms is the spine. There's a reason for that. Think about where your column of light is. It's your spine. So in your spine and in the discs within your spine, that holds all of your ancestral information from your family's lineage. That information is absorbed through the amniotic fluids, right? Connected to that sacral energy where the womb is. That is the portal to all time and space, to your whole entire lineage, which is a part of your oversoul. And that information gets imprinted into your spine and into your discs, and then also then into your bones. So sometimes when we do big, deep ancestral clearings or healings, or you're just going through these big, deep purges, you can feel your bones hurting or get bone tired. That's because there's a purging of energy coming out of your physical structuring. And then when you know something is integrating or becoming crystallized into your bone, right? You'll get bone cold. You'll get freezing because it's crystallizing into your state of being. That is the ultimate integration. To clean it. How can we clean our crystal bracelets? You can do many things. You can make your own rose water, or just clean water. You don't want to use like tap water. You can put them in moonlight. Please do not put anything out during eclipse energy. Definitely not this moon. This is considered a baby eclipse. This is not the moon to put things out. You can put it in the sunlight. So the moon energy is going to be a more feminine cleansing. The sun is generally more of an activating thing. What I do is selenite. So selenite is self-cleansing. So I have selenite all over my space, and I will leave crystals on top of it, bracelets on top of it, things like that. They make selenite bowls you can put things in. You can place like cards, right? When I get cards, sometimes I just kind of fan them over my heart, and I visualize my heart surrounding them and cleansing them and connecting them to my energy field. So there's lots of different ways. Just know your stones. So like, while you never have to cleanse selenite, if it's a soft stone, it can't be in water. You can't put it in water. So that's going to be only moonlight. You can use sage and things like that. That's more new age for cleansing, and there's a lot of controversy over that. So it's all about your intention and your belief, right? So white sage is really just going to change the frequency of the room. It's going to clear negative energy, not negative entities. If you want to use black sage, this is where you're going to clear negative entities. And negative entities, 90% of the time, are versions of you that you have repressed and have created. It's, you know, so much energy that they feel like someone's following you. And that helps to just disconnect and allow that energy to be released from you. There's still work that will have to be done, of course, but that's a whole another damn rabbit hole. Yes, I clean my cards every time before I go live. If I plan to use them, I clean my cards. I do clean my cards with sage, and I will hold the sage, and when the smoke moves away from my cards, I know that they're cleansed. But see, all these crystals up here, they don't really move. But I have pieces of selenite everywhere to help cleanse them. Oh, thank you. Yeah, sometimes we're on here doing readings, and sometimes we're just channeling random shit. But sometimes you guys will see me. This is the one I usually use. This is the first pendulum I ever got. And when I am doing a lot of channeling, you might see my arm moving. I'm literally just spinning the pendulum and allowing it to go where it needs to, and I'm just moving energy. So this is what I use my pendulums for, is moving energy. And then of course I have a pendulum that I wear constantly. It's not really a pendulum, but this is called an etheric weaver. So this is made by Buddhist monks on Mount Shasta. And this is copper and magnets and obviously a crystal, and it's meant to help keep my field magnetized and energy moving around me and through me. It helps take some of the load off of me. Yeah, those combo of those two are really good. I also like selenite and rose quartz. I also put like these small thin selenite bars. I'll put them above doorways, so when people cross under them, it's kind of cleansing their field. When I lived in the Carolina, when I lived on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, we had a hurricane. We had a lot of hurricanes, but we had Hurricane Florence, which was the really devastating one. And our house is across the street from water, and we're in a high wind zone, high flood zone. So our house is, you know, obviously we had to evacuate because it was a very big storm, and we didn't know if we were going to come back to a house. And I get chills. I was guided to grid the property, and so my husband always just thought I was a whack job, but he went along at the time. And so I had these huge chunks of rose quartz, and we went around every 3 feet or so, dug a hole about 1 foot down, dropped a big piece of rose quartz with a blessing, covered it up, went the next 3 feet. I gridded the whole entire property. And then I put a sandstone, what was it? Oh, I'm blanking. What is his name? He's the one that protects. Anyway, this figurine, I forget what his name is. It's because I'm seeking it. It will pop in. Anyway, I put it on the 3rd step. We had about 7 steps up because I think we were about 7 feet up in our home, 7 feet above the ground. And so I put them on the 3rd steps about 3 feet up. And it's made of sandstone, right? So anyway, we leave our property. We evacuate 8 hours to Charlotte. The storm sat for 4 days, spun, created, like, just people's homes were just demolished down to the studs. Roads were washed out. It was hard. So we're talking, we didn't get back to our property. Storm lasted about 3 or 4 days, and then it was probably another 3 days before we could even travel until we got there. So let's just say 7 days after the storm. We had about 4 feet of storm surge, that salt water coming from the ocean that flooded out our garage. You could see the water line of where it came. That sandstone, it didn't get touched. Our property did not get demolished. Everything was saved. Like, we lost things in the garage because the garage, there was 4 feet of water in the garage. But even that, there was stuff that was somehow miraculously not touched. We did have wind and hail damage, and it did get into our kitchen, so we did have minimal damage. But the tornadoes that they went around us, like, everybody around us had such massive damage, and we didn't. And to this day, I know it's because we gridded the property. So moldavite, I have a piece right here. Now, moldavite is one of the most fake stones there is. Just be aware of that. Well, I thought I did. Actually, I don't know where my moldavite is. I might have put it away because I don't like to leave it out all the time. Just make sure you have a certified piece. If you get moldavite, you can just put it away. I have a metal box that I think that's where it is in my closet. I have a metal box that I keep it in. When I first got mine, I wore it, but I could only wear it for a couple of days at a time because it is so powerful. What happens is moldavite comes, literally, it came from a whole other reality. Like, that's not conspiracy or woo-woo. It's legit. It's mined in a certain part of the country. Excuse me. Moldavite is such a high frequency, and when you start to move into another frequency, or you're surrounded by another frequency, it's going to push on those lower frequencies. It's going to push on the density in your body. So sometimes people go into healing crises. So there's nothing wrong with connecting with moldavite, but I always say do it for an hour at a time in the beginning and work your way up. And when you're not using it, cleanse it, put it in a metal box. You don't need to be afraid of it. And whatever you fear, you should run towards, by the way. Fear should be a guidepost of where you should go. And there's a difference between fear and danger fear, so don't get it twisted. You know when something's dangerous. I don't want to open my closet and do all that, but I would show you my piece. But mine's literally it's on a necklace chain because I wear it. This is the other thing I wear. I think I have it on right now, actually. This is an Andara. These are pretty expensive. This is the other most fake stone. If anybody wants one of these, you can reach out to me on email or Instagram, and I can send you a reputable dealer in Kauai that I know for a fact only deals in real Andaras. But this is another high frequency, more galactic type energy. But they aren't cheap. I think this piece was like $300. But I absolutely love them. This is a Super 7. It's another good stone to work with. It's high frequency. I got random stones all over the damn place. And when I went on my nomad journey, I had boxes and boxes of huge crystal pieces, and I just gave them away. Literally gave them away because I wasn't going to sit around and try to sell all of them. I had to let it go. I don't. There's a few reputable crystal sellers. I don't know if they would have it. Let me see what the website is. Oh, I'm gonna have to make some energy. Is it My Mystical Moons? Okay, so it's ourmysticalcrystals.com. Where is the exit button? There we go. So I know the owners personally. The website is ourmysticalcrystals.com. When you click on that website, it might say the Mystical Moons, but they have a metaphysical store online and in person. And usually, if you're looking for something in particular, you can always reach out, and they could probably get it for you. Perfect. Yeah. So these are honest, reputable people. They also do spiritual development and mediumship and cards, but they kind of do more of like really entry-level beginners. So that's another thing for you guys to do. But if you follow them on Facebook and stuff, they also do live crystal sales from time to time. But they have a reputable store. Sam is the man, the husband, owner of it, and he's the one that does all the crystals. And if you're looking for something in particular, again, find a way to reach out to them and ask them what you're looking for. I bet you they can get it for you. You're very welcome. It's all about your resources and who you know, sharing information. Sharing that information. And anybody who does do the divine spark activation, message me, activating your divine spark, message me and let me know how you experienced it. Or if you're in my Facebook group, post and share about it. I always love how people have different experiences with stuff. It fascinates me. Fascinates me. Do we have any other questions, or does anybody else want a reading before we wrap up? There's this Brazilian healing medium. He's a Brazilian healing medium. He travels around the world doing these free healing events. He channels the spirit of this spirit doctor. Now, as someone who, I know how to do ethereal surgery. It is something that I was taught working with my shaman and also the assistance of a lot of my spirit team. So one of the people that I will sometimes channel when I do ethereal surgery, and I haven't done ethereal surgery in a long time, but will be the spirit doctors. This Brazilian healing medium, this is his name, what he calls himself. He channels a specific spirit doctor. He happens to be coming into Houston, and I'm north of Houston, of course, so I have to drive into Houston. But he had a last minute availability, and he's doing this very short stint in Houston tonight. And I was very intrigued by this man. So I'm going to go attend this evening and see what he's all about. And maybe even get an energy work by him. And see, I always like experiencing other people's techniques and their connections. And here's something fun if you're in the industry and you're working with other people, when you connect to somebody else, you have the opportunity and the potential to be able to absorb or transfer their ability into you. If it's something that also lives inside of you, it will activate it. So oftentimes when I'm working with a client, if they're more clairvoyant than anything else, I will be more clairvoyant on that call. I think it happens so that they can relate or resonate better. But if they're more clairaudient, my clairaudience will be the primary. It's always happened to me that way. But I have been able to grow and expand my abilities and gifts by just working with other people and tapping into their abilities and gifts. And it's all about just connecting and attuning yourself. It's not taking it from them. It's just an attunement. And so it's something that you're always, you're never limited. You're never limited. So just remember that. You're never limited. You have infinite potential, infinite possibilities. And sometimes you learn certain techniques or practice certain things for a while, and then you will let it go and you will go on to the next thing. Does it mean that you won't ever use that first thing? No, it just means that when you need it, it's there. It may be a piece of a bigger puzzle. Maybe you're creating your own method and you'll pull from it. So remember that oftentimes a lot of people will shift and change and do different things in their development, and it will all come back full circle, right? You'll always be able to do all of those things. There'll be just different points where something new is your primary. And that's all by design. Like I mentioned earlier, right? I'm not an Akashic record reader. I'm not a past life reader. I don't just do ethereal surgery. I'm not just a shaman. I'm not just a medium. But can I do all of those things? Yes. Do I do all of those things anytime I need them? Yeah, whatever's needed is what's going to show up. But there was a time when I couldn't do all of those things. There was a time when I only knew how to channel. And then I started learning healing work through my spirit team. And then I focused on doing healing work. And then I was doing ethereal surgery, and I focused on ethereal surgery. And then my shaman rights were invoked, and I practiced shamanism for a while. Then in between there, my mediumship got really strong. And so I did mediumship for a while, and I did a lot of grief work. And so I've just had different periods of my 9-year career doing different things. And that way I can do what I need to do for my client. But it all happened in stages. It didn't, it's not like I just woke up one day and I knew how to do everything. And I'm sure as I evolve, I will connect to different beings and I will learn new things and I will utilize them however I need to. So always just be open. Never be fixated on it's one thing. It's never one thing. It's always everything. Always everything. Okay, my loves. Any other last minute questions? Readings? Last call, last call, last call. Oh, I need to change and eat something before I head out. You're so welcome. It probably won't be today, probably sometime tomorrow morning or the next 24 hours. I will download this live and upload it to my YouTube channel. It'll be under the playlist TikTok Lives, so that if you guys want to go back and re-listen or access it for information, it will be there. But yeah, it was so awesome to hang out with you guys. If I have the opportunity to go live again this week, I will. I don't know if I will be able to. I can't to hear what you have to say about the Brazilian. Oh yeah, if I If I can come back on live sometime this week, if I have some time, I'll be studying Thursday and Friday because I'm also getting my insurance license again. I used to own an insurance brokerage. Random weird fact about me. But I'm getting my insurance license back again. And so I'll be studying. So if I want to take a study break and come on for a little while, I might pop on randomly and share. But I hope you guys have an amazing night. Don't forget, if you want a course, TikTok is the coupon code TikTok for 50% off. And I will see you guys in the next time.